2. So Miriam and I were having a fabulous chat, and then we started to see from the Facebook comments that you guys couldn't hear or see us anymore. So if anyone else is here, no one's here yet because we had to start a whole brand new broadcast and you guys don't even know. But as soon as somebody gets on, we would love to just confirm that you can see and hear us on this brand new link. So I'm going to just wait a few moments. And to catch up those of you, in case this is running live, to those of you who are catching this part too, what Miriam and I were speaking about is the power of how. The power of how to practically experience flow in your personal life and business. And what Miriam did was describe what is flow. And basically, flow is a state in which you experience inner peace and you start to see the things that you really want being created, that you're able to create them with a greater sense of ease. So you're not having this resistance, this pushing, this hustle. That is a normal way that people are taught to make things happen in the world. And so we talked about the definition of flow. We also talked about the first 3 steps to experiencing flow in your personal life and business. And the first was to pay attention to what your feelings are telling you. And number 2 was to identify what do you want to feel instead. And number 3, where we got cut off, was on this topic of tuning in to your intuition. So right now, I do see some viewers who are on the line. Will you kindly confirm that you can hear and see me just fine before we continue talking a little bit more about intuition and then diving into steps 4 and 5? May we kindly have some confirmation that you guys are not having any issue hearing and seeing us this time. Welcome to those who are on live and to those who are on here after the fact and watching the recording. We will promise to go in and comment. So if you are actually catching this as a recording, then you can comment below and Miriam and I will go in and respond. So apologies that this is actually going to be showing up as a 2-part series. And as I mentioned, steps 1, 2, and 3, identifying what your feelings are telling you. Number 2, what do you want to be feeling instead? And number 3, how to tune into your intuition. So our special guest today, Miriam Weiss, turns what we are taught about personal growth and about experiencing flow and like the nice, the things that we hear that sound nice, she turns them into practical things that we can implement in our life. So I want to pick up where we left off, Miriam, on this topic of intuition, because I'm not sure that our viewers got to hear what we were talking about, but the very real example that we were talking about was when this decision that I'm having to make, my monkey brain, I just kindly refer to my brain that wants to bounce around from, trying to figure things out. I was trying to decide, do I do option A, B, or C? And how do I know that I'm really listening to my intuition? How do I know that my intuition's guiding me right so that later on I don't second guess? I don't go down the path of, well, I wonder if I would have chosen that other option, what would happen? Or did I make the right choice? How do I know deep down inside? And I know that you were saying, at least between us, I don't know who got to hear, that sometimes it'll be option D. It's something I've not even been considering. And so let's pick up there. And how does somebody know that it's their intuition, that they can trust that? How would they know?
They'll know because they won't be asking, how do I know whether this is my intuition and I can trust that?
Is it like that? I just know? Like it's a response like, no. I just know.
No, because if you're asking those questions, that means that you're still in your head trying to figure it out to find the right decision, the best decision. And when you're really connected and you're really tuned in, on the inside, you know that your intention is to completely let go of what you know, of what is, and to really tune in to your guides, to listen. What's in my highest good? What's loving to me? What do I need to know? And you'll also have practice, right? So it's a frequency. So you will feel, I'm tuned into the radio station that has to do with the larger infinite intelligence versus I'm tuned into my head, broadcasting live, everything I've already done for the past rest of my life. Does that answer the question?
And those who are watching live, like, I want to be sensitive to our audience, because I know that there's some people who do, like, they'll make a reference to the universe or to manifesting. And then there's others in my audience I know who believe in, like, okay, I want to ask God and trust that the Holy Spirit will guide me. And so no matter what word you may personally use, I want you to tune into the deeper message that's here, that we're tuning into a deeper wisdom that's not based on our brain doing pros and cons and us trying to figure it out intellectually, because sometimes the right next step, the flow that we're supposed to experience, it may not even make sense, but our next step will show up and guide us closer to what we want most. I've discovered that. Like, there's a real surrender for me to trust that God has my back, and constantly be opening up to receiving of that support and guidance. And so I'm curious, Miriam, what if, because I'm telling myself a story right now that I've got a deadline. I've got to know very fast, and I'm a little bit scared that my intuition may not tell me the answer in time. And maybe there's others who are watching live who can identify with that sense of anxiety almost, or that rush to, I want to make a decision from my deeper knowing, but can I trust that it will come in a timely manner? How would you answer that question?
So, how I would answer that question is that you're doing it again. Trying to control, trying to pressure yourself, trying to know. If your intention really is to really know what's in your highest good, you're going to make it safe and comfortable to say, I have the time to decide. It's in my highest good to make the decision that's right for me. And it doesn't act, the truth is, you might ask your guys what the truth is, right? But the truth is that it doesn't take more time to decide. It actually takes more time to decide if you're pressuring yourself. It actually takes much less time if you would take the time to really tune in to find out what's in your heartfelt desire. Now, something I want to mention in terms of people maybe not believing in God or the infinite intelligence. Now, I learned this stuff from Dr. Margaret Paul and her practice inner bonding. And she works with a lot of clients who don't believe in anything at all, or they're atheists, or, and she tells them, well, ask the air, or think of your highest self, or yourself 150 years from now. The point is, and the way I look at it now, is that we're actually energetic beings, and eventually science, and people who are science oriented will catch up to this truth. And we all have this capacity. It's not about being psychic. It's not about being extra intuitive or about what you believe. Really, what you believe has nothing to do with it. If you start this practice and you start to tune in, you will know from your own experience. You won't have to believe in anything. You won't have to believe me either. You will just know these answers are popping in your head. And the thing is, those answers are coming to you now. You're just not ascribing it to the infinite intelligence. When you read an article or your friend gives you advice that just clicks, that clicking is the knowing, this is truth. This is in my highest good. This is loving to me. So you can either wait around, as Vanessa was saying, oh no, what if the answer doesn't come to me later? Or you can do the power of how, and you can learn how to tune in, how to connect, how to tune in to that infinite intelligence to get the answers that you need in the moment.
So I'd love to encourage our listeners who are on right now, and you probably are experiencing a specific situation that you're trying to figure out, what should I do? And as Miriam is sharing about tuning into your intuition, you might be saying, that's what I need. I need to know that. I want to know that. Or maybe you're feeling like me, like, will I know in time? And you have this deadline for yourself. I think it's super powerful for us to identify times in our past that we just knew. And so maybe you can type into the chat a time in your past that you just knew that you knew that you knew. You just, something clicked, something told you do this next. And even though you couldn't see what the following steps were going to be or how it was going to work out, you knew that you knew that you knew. And if you can identify just once, this is evidence of this principle that Miriam's talking about, and how that same experience that you had previously is accessible to you now in this decision that you might be facing. So walk us through, what are steps 4 and 5?
Oh, I was just going to invite you, if you wanted to, I could facilitate you and you can find out your best decision right now. Do we have time for that?
Yeah, that's powerful.
That it's not
for me.
That it's quick. Yeah, for you.
Oh, Okay.
And we'll see that it's quick.
Okay.
We'll see that it won't be.
It feels a little vulnerable, I have to say. And I'm pretty much like vulnerability queen, but I'm feeling vulnerable, but I'm completely open.
Okay, so I'll invite you to mirror and model my energy, because I'm going to get present in my own body, and I'm going to invite you to use that safety to get present in yours. Okay? So I'm closing my eyes. That helps me focus and go into my heart. So Vanessa, when you tune in and when you feel safe and you think of the energies of guidance and wisdom, warmth, compassion, safety, love, peace, do you have any visions or images coming to mind right now as I say those words even?
Yeah, it's interesting because, as you know, in the work that I do with clients in their program creation and marketing their work, like I say, okay, show up with your genius and I'll help you with the marketing words. And what I'm hearing, interestingly, right now is Vanessa, drop the marketing words for your own work in this moment. And it's because then it allows me to flow in just sharing it and to doing the work, because I'm actually doing the work with clients individually, where it's like supporting them in how they're showing up in the world so that they are experiencing the results that they want in their business, because people are saying, I'll have what you're having. They are experiencing the connection in their relationships with their spouses or with their kids or even with themselves. And that's like basically the core message of I'll have what she's having. And I'm noticing, like, when you ask that question, I think it was that attachment, particularly because these individuals are saying, hey, I'm ready to market your stuff. Give me the marketing words. And what I'm hearing is drop the marketing words.
Option D.
Yeah, option D. Okay, God.
And how are you feeling now, sweetheart? Does it feel true? Does it feel right? Does it feel like it helps you?
It's an invitation to flow. It's an invitation to trust. It's an invitation to not do it the way that I'm accustomed to doing. And frankly, I believe like that's where the magic occurs. That's where the results that are exponential, not just incremental, occur. And so there's a certain surrender to that that I feel a resonance of truth with.
Beautiful. And that's the power of how right now you're truly doing something different that you couldn't have made up from your mind, and you couldn't have made up from deciding what you should or shouldn't do.
That was really powerful because that was quick.
So quick. And I didn't even get to the full facilitation. You just went there just like that. The point is also with this work, for those of you who've been doing self-help work forever, you know, you don't lose that work. It's just, I'm just tweaking, you know, the order and, you know, where to tune in and what to do when, so that you get to control and facilitate your own flow and your own how. And you don't have to wait for somebody out there to say the right thing, or, you know, stay caught in your head for weeks or days or whatever it is that's happening to you now. You really can learn the power of how.
And, you know, I promised on video 1 of this 2-part video that I would share the very specific experience that you and I had via Facebook Messenger, as a matter of fact, after you had already been through Create Your Signature program with me. And you remembered a powerful story that I had shared that I had forgotten. I was like, wait, where did she watch that? I'd forgotten I had shared that growing up, being the oldest of 5 kids, that I had this life that I felt a certain sense of responsibility for my kids. Not my kids, gosh, I think that was a Freudian slip on intentionally. That I felt this sense of
max.
this sense of responsibility for my siblings. And so, for instance, I figured out how to go to college completely free, like my undergrad and grad school paid for with scholarships, because I figured out the system. And it was like, I'm going to turn around and teach my siblings so that they can get into college, because my parents couldn't afford it. And I figured out, you know, how to make good money so that I could buy my first car. Well, I'm going to turn around and teach my siblings. And it's been like, I feel a sense of emotion just sharing this right now, because you really nailed something with me because part of what I've done in teaching people how to get their work online came from me like sharing uninhibited my message and then creating success online, like being able to monetize it and turn it into programs and market it effectively. And then what did I do? I took my focus off of sharing the message and I immediately turned around and it was like, here's how you could do it. Like I got stuck into the nitty-gritty of the how to of online marketing and program creation, all of that, and in a sense abandoned my core message. And you wrote to me in Facebook Messenger and you said, Vanessa, you don't have to, it's not your responsibility to teach us all the how. And like, and being released of that responsibility and burden that I felt of like everything that I figure out, I need to turn around and teach others. And so it's interesting because that's what's showing up when you ask me the intuitive question. It was almost like that returning to the core message. That's really what's showing up. So thank you for serving me powerfully and being able to see that deeper way of how I was even getting in my own way of experiencing flow because I was letting old patterns show up. So thank you.
You're welcome. And that speaks to the deeper message of this work, which is we are souls going through an earthly journey. Now, I know that's touted as platitudes, but the point is that these lessons will keep showing up, that they are there for a reason. They're not there to punish you or to make it feel like a struggle to get through life. But when you have the power of how and you have the tools and you know how to tune in to whatever is blocking for very good reasons, things you learned to do in your childhood, right, for very good reasons, and you didn't have other options, it really opens you up and frees you as you take responsibility for what's happening inside to find new options now that you're, you know, not a child anymore. And that's really the way to manifest. And, you know, moving into step 4, there's this question of, you know, how do I drop the hustle? Well, the thing is with the hustle is it works short term until it doesn't work. And people think they can manage and control, you know, they can get where they want to go. You know, if they figure out the system about scholarships and they figure out the right marketing words, that they're going to get where they want to go. And it may work, and it may work short term, and you may, quote unquote, cheat the system. But the point is that life doesn't work according to fairness and according to predictability. That's why we have these dark nights of the soul and these crises of faith where, wait, I was doing this in my business and one day it stopped working. And then you want to know why, and you're really, you know, scared. Well, because there's a different intelligence working in terms of what we do and don't get and what's fair and not fair. And the point is we're not here on this planet to get wealth or to get ahead or to become safe. We're here to learn how to love and be loved and be tuned into the energies of love. So if you're doing your business from a place of love and a place of alignment with your soul, you will flourish and you will thrive. Anything you're doing that's not loving and not kind, such as hustling and being too busy and not watching out for your health and not being responsible and cheating other people, it will catch up with you in time. And then you'll be spending your life working out karma, which is really just human illusions of how we're supposed to go through life, versus your dharma, which is your life path and your mission, and cultivating your soul gifts that are there to be given out to the world that will be rewarded in kind, simply because that loving energy you put forth is simply going to be echoed and mirrored back. And that's all it really is.
Now, talk about step 5, because you and I were just on a Facebook Live and the audio and visual dropped out. And I was like, oh, Miriam, I hope your steps of how to experience flow include when things don't go according to plan. So why don't you share this step number 5, which you shared was the key to like staying in a state of flow.
So step 5 is really mindset. And this is, I don't know if any of you have read Carol Dweck's book called Mindset. And the distinction she makes is between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And this is really key and speaks to the mindfulness we were speaking about in terms of step 1, which is that these steps are going to come over and over and over again as more layers come up to be healed and cleared, because the point is your soul does want you to manifest what you came in this earth to do. And when it shows up frustrations, they're there for your highest good to reveal to you what your blocks are, what are your false beliefs, what are your coping strategies, what isn't working, so you can clear them and step back into flow. So, I mean, in terms of our Facebook Live, though, it would just be to keep on tuning in and just keep doing what's in your highest good, keep doing what's loving to you, and let go of, there's nowhere you have to get, there's nowhere you have to be, there's no right or wrong way. There's just keep on learning and keep on moving in the direction you want to flow, and you will be there already without, there being somewhere you have to get.
So let's talk about how you came about this process, like creating your process for your program, The Power of How. And I do want to put a little plug in here for those of you who are listening to this and you're saying, like, I'm getting it conceptually, but I really want to know how it applies to my particular life. Like, I would really love to get Miriam's insight. I would really love to get her help with this. We are going to give you the opportunity. She's been doing this work with clients one-on-one for years. And in our work together in Create Your Signature Program, and I'm going to share with you about that in just a moment, what we did was we packaged that work that she was doing with clients one-on-one into something that she's now doing with groups, with individuals, supporting them in experientially, like taking what you're hearing today and not it just being an intellectual practice, but something you're actually living and embodying in the world. And you got to see a little taste of what Miriam does with me in those few quick minutes, like getting the clarity of like, oh, this is what my intuition is saying. This is what my deeper knowing knows to do. And if that's you and you're saying, I want to get some individual attention on this, I want to see how this pertains to my specific situation, I'm facing a decision, or perhaps you're facing many decisions and you're trying to identify what is the best thing for me to do, then Miriam has a program that she is filling right now. It's a beta version of this particular brand, The Power of How. The work that she's been doing with clients one-on-one, being able to have a more cost-effective option for those who can't afford her one-on-one services. So you'll have the opportunity, if you have an interest in getting a taste of clarity with Miriam's support, to book a session. And then perhaps if it interests you, ask her about her beta program. Ask her, or maybe you're interested in one-on-one, that's cool too. But Miriam, why don't you share with them where they can get information of getting that clarity of how to apply this specific process to their life, how our viewers might be able to contact you?
Well, if you just go to scheduleclarity.com, you'll be taken to my calendar and you'll be able to book a complimentary 60-minute session where I will listen to you and how you conceptualize your challenges now, and then I'll show you how my functional approach will actually resolve the issues and explain to you any questions you have about how you want to take the work moving forward. And you'll come out of the session feeling more confident and more clear and just more excited that there actually are solutions, that there is new information out there that hasn't been touted in, what you've already been doing and reading. So I would encourage anyone who's interested to visit that link, scheduleclarity.com.
Scheduleclarity.com. I love that you called it that, because I've had people say clarity is the new black. I've had people say clarity is next to divinity. And sometimes that's exactly what we need in order to take our next steps confidently. And so if you're listening to this and you're liking what you're hearing and you want to get in contact with Miriam, go to scheduleclarity.com to get a taste. And she's being super generous, a whole 60 minutes that she'll put aside for you. Like, that's amazing. So take advantage of that. And like I said, explore whether or not her program might be something you might be interested in if you wanted to adopt this as a way of living, like really not it just being something you do once even, but something that you continue to practice, tuning into your emotions, tuning into your deeper knowing, and confidently making decisions from that place. So I would love to talk, Miriam, about your experience in Create Your Signature Program, because we are in the middle of our campaign as we are opening up the doors next week to our Create Your Signature Program program for next month, the month of November. We do this workshop that we conduct a couple times a year in helping experts like our viewers who are here today who are saying, how do I brand myself? How do I create what I do with clients one-on-one and create a group program? And my philosophy is, in order to contribute to experiencing flow in our lives, that one program, literally having one core focus to your work, can be turned into multiple streams of income. So if you're the kind of person who loves speaking, you can create one core program and make money speaking. Or if you're the kind of person who loves doing workshops, you can deliver that content via workshops or one-on-one or VIP clients or group coaching programs, which is my favorite because it's the most leveraged way. And so it's one program equals multiple streams of income. And so, Miriam, I'd love to speak about what was your experience, particularly because you were somebody who was doing this work one-on-one and, frankly, not charging enough for how powerful your work was on a one-on-one level. And you made the decision to join us in Create Your Signature program, which is a one-day workshop with a couple of extra calls, but in essence, we knock it out in a single day. I'd love for you to share what was your experience taking this transformative work that you do and applying our Create Your Signature program framework so that you now have something that you're marketing and you're building your business around, and made this big move to move from therapy into this work and quit your full-time job to be able to do this. So share with us what your experience was. What were you experiencing before going through the workshop, and what were some of the benefits you experienced by going through it?
But I just want to say first that even if you don't have a process or you don't have experience, Vanessa, you know exactly how to reach inside a person's expertise, whatever questions they've been answering their whole life, almost obsessively, so it's really for anyone who wants to create some kind of signature program or system, or just wants to leverage the work they're already doing. So I just wanted to put that out there. But for me, it was, I knew what my process was. And I thought that it would just be simple to just teach it, just put up some modules and some, videos. But what I got out of the program was I didn't realize before going into this that what is a coaching program? Oh, you are really selling outcomes. And your task as the developer of this program is to center everything around what it is you want your clients to be transformed by at the other side. And that really helped me get so clear on, why I would sell programs instead of sessions, and what the value of my work would actually be, and put myself in the hearts and minds of those I wish to serve, to find out, what would they need in order to learn what I do, and what would the value be to them. And, in terms of personally, what I got out of it was I went from stressing out, I need a niche and I don't know how to figure that out, and all this stuff, having all the notes and all this mush in my brain about how this is going to go without a clear plan, to really getting it step by step, dialed down, all the parts streamlined. And I moved immediately into selling programs instead of sessions, and with the clarity to leave my full-time job, because I knew that this is a program that's going to help people, and that's what I need to know moving forward. I don't need to know exactly who, what, where, when, and how, but I know that I'm providing a valuable service, and I'm not sure I was totally aware of that before our work together.
Well, and I love that you took the workshop, you applied the information, and one of the things that we really do, and I appreciate you specifying that it's not just for people who already have an established process, because if some of you are watching and you're saying, I just want to get my message out in the world, I want to make an impact, I believe I've been through what I've been through in life for a reason, I want to contribute, I want to give to the lives of others, then this is my practical application, is saying, you know what, let's create a program, let's solidify what it is that you do exactly, and how can you ensure that you're not just teaching concepts to people, but that they're experiencing a transformation that you intend. So maybe it's something you've personally gone through. How do you help ensure that they are experiencing powerful outcomes as well? And I just say, let's package it into a program or establish a step-by-step process and system. And so, Miriam, you went through that virtual workshop that we do 10 to 4 all day long on a Friday. And we go step by step by step, identifying whom would be the perfect client for this. How are you going to get their attention? How are you going to ensure the outcomes? Because people don't buy number of sessions. People don't buy life coaching. They buy a specific outcome that they want. They don't buy business coaching. They don't buy mentorship. They don't buy consulting. They buy what's the outcome that they expect that they might be able to get from it. That's different than what they're experiencing now. And we went through that one-day workshop, and you were creating clients like within the next 2 weeks after doing that workshop. Can you say overachiever? I'm just kidding. No, I love that because you were clear. You were clear on your own work.
And I got the tools and what I needed. Whatever wasn't clear going in was clearly not clear, but then your work helped me get the clarity, get the focus, get the confidence, all the outcomes you promised. And I said, I'm going to give this to my clients. I'm going to figure out what's the outcome, what's the gift, what's the transformation that I want to promise, and I'm going to do my best to give it to them. And it's just super thrilling and exciting to look at it that way. So, how much am I worth? Are they going to pay me for this? Forget all that.
Yeah, so if you're watching this, I want to give you the invitation. I'm going to be going into greater detail in a webinar tomorrow. So be sure to register for it because then you'll get access to the recording even. But if you go to webinarwithvanessa.com, and I'll make sure my team types into the chat the domain webinarwithvanessa.com, I'm going to be talking about exactly how to create multiple streams of income from one program. And how do you create that program? How do you find clients for that program? How do you ensure that what your work you're doing is worth premium prices? How do you stand out from the 644 billion websites that are online? How do you charge for something that you're passionate about and somebody else that is willing to pay you for that? So I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow with one of my very, very, very favorite income streams from one program, and that's virtual workshops. And it came from me praying and seeking, and I think, to speak to this process of experiencing flow in life and business. I knew that the traditional methods of launching online programs, the traditional methods of marketing, the traditional methods of launches, that was exhausting. I'd burned myself out. My husband made a very powerful comment, and he's like, babe, you cannot keep doing your launches the way that you are. Like, can you move out of to a hotel for these 3 weeks and then come back, because you're not even fully present with us, and that's harder than you not being here at all. And I was like, okay. So to your process, Miriam, I said, what do I want to experience instead? Well, what I want to experience instead is filling my programs with ease. I want to experience instead that I'm not having to hustle. I want to experience instead that I'm present with my kids and with my husband. I want to experience instead that the money comes as a result of serving powerfully. And with that, I launched my Signature, this program called Signature. I launched the Signature brand with a virtual workshop. And I was blown away that in a single day, I served 15 clients. It generated $63,000 in revenue, and we've been doing these virtual workshops now 14. I've done technically 14 full-day workshops. And so I'm going to be teaching this methodology for creating programs and for servicing your clients. So Miriam does a multi-week program, but you can also do the same kind of program if it fits for your particular work in a one-day workshop. So I'm going to be teaching that. I'm going to be giving away my worksheet for how to conduct these. So this is just one of the multiple streams of income that I teach if you have a core program. So come to that webinar if you want to learn about that. Go to webinarwithvanessa.com, and just by registering on that site, you'll get access to all goodies around this if this is a topic that interests you. So we're going to wrap up our two-piece Facebook Live today and say, if you have an interest in learning more about how to experience flow in your personal life and business and want to take Miriam up on one of her sessions or clarity sessions and the 60 minutes she's willing to put aside to support you, go to scheduleclarity.com. And if you have an interest in learning how you can package your passions, your expertise, your experience, your story into something that serves others powerfully, watch my webinar tomorrow. Join me at webinarwithvanessa.com. And is there anything you want to say wrapping up, Miriam?
No, just thank you for this time today. It's always lovely chatting.
Thanks for your patience going to a two-part. And thanks for our attendees who are here. We appreciate you, your support, your love. And type into the chat, what questions do you have after watching today's Facebook Live about how to apply this to your specific situation, or what served you most? We look forward to hearing that. We'll go back and respond in the comments. So for now, we'll sign off. Lots of love. Beijos. Mwah.
Bye.